Hello and welcome to this special on a night of big news where both the leading parties of this country experience the impact of corruption and poor governance. In Karnataka, it was the BJP which suffered one of its worst ever losses, being swept out of its southern bastion. And in New Delhi, even as the Congress had begun to celebrate, the crisis over its ministers seen as compromised role in the coal controversy, as well as what's being called Railgate, seems to have deepened tonight. We'll be looking at all of that over the course of the next few hours. But first, and I'm joined here by Dorab Supariwala to just quickly run you through the big news coming out of Karnataka. And here is now the final position tonight on what's been a dramatic loss for the BJP. Everyone expected they would lose Dorab, but this was a big loss. In fact, they almost slipped to third place, but right now they're level with the JDS.
13 or 14% loss in votes is a huge loss in votes.
Right. So this is actually right now the final results position. The Congress 121, a gain of 42. The JDS, remarkable performance, 40. The BJP dropping 70 seats to 40. Yediyurappa performing far poorly than even what the pollsters had expected, just getting 6. And the other 16.
But
now let's look at the
Yediyurappa doing much better in terms of votes. He's got 10% of the votes. That's a lot of votes.
That's a lot of votes, and that becomes now clear when we look at the vote share. So the Congress at 37%, the JDS at 20%, the BJP at 20%, and as Dorab said, the KJP at a huge 10%. But that figure, Dorab, you were saying is significant, that there's a 14% swing away from the BJP.
You know, we did a little calculation where we said, let's assume that the KJP did not exist, and the BJP has dropped 4% to the other two parties. Even if you do that, the BJP drops to 70. It was such a tight fight last time. That a 4% drop itself, with 2.5 going to the Congress and 1.5 to JDS, would have been enough to bring
would have still lost
110 to 70, not to 40 but to 70.
Okay, so in fact, I think they've got that graphic up there as well, or is that? Oh, that's the graphic. That's just giving you the overall swing graphic.
I don't think this graphic is there.
So essentially, the BJP's argument that they only lost because of Yediyurappa is then not true.
Well,
even if he had been part of the BJP, the chances are fairly strong that they would have still lost.
You got to make the assumption there would have been a swing against them of at least 4%.
Right.
Currently it's 14. The 4%, if that had been split 2.5 to the Congress and 1.5 to the JDS, the Congress would have got 120 seats and the BJP 72.
Okay, let's look at in fact how badly the BJP was hit by the vote swing, and let's put that graphic up on the screen to see if this is the point that Dorab was making, that the BJP votes are down by 14% and the split in votes 10%. And the swing against it is 4%. So the split only led to a 10% swing, but 4% was just people voting against the BJP.
Split is the KJP share.
That's right. That's what Yediyurappa took away from them. So overall, it was just a huge, huge vote against the BJP, whichever way you look at it. And that was the big story coming out of Karnataka tonight. Let's now take a look at the graphics for the Congress. And take us through that, Dorab.
Congress just got about 2.5% up. They were already, they were at 36, 35, 36 earlier. They are now about 37. So it's a couple of percent up. But the fact the BJP lost, and as we saw with Bihar, it's the gap that makes the difference, not how many votes you have. So the Congress gained a little, but the BJP lost a huge amount. So
and also it's interesting that just with a gain of only about 2%, the Congress manages a huge jump of almost double the number of seats. Just short of double, actually.
50%, 80 to 120. Well, as I said to you this morning, that the JDS with a 39% to 25% got 8 times as many seats.
Right.
39% for JDS, 25% for Lalu. So, as your difference goes, it becomes a sweep.
Okay, so small.
What is surprising is that it survived because JDS is actually a concentrate 20%. It's not a spread out 20%.
Okay,
had it been spread out, the Congress would have got 140.
Right. So JDS winning most of its seats just from a few regions in the south. Okay, let's now play you all the color and all the excitement of the election results as they came in this morning, and also already because the Congress being the Congress, the jockeying that's begun between its top leaders for who will now be Chief Minister.
The big winner and the big loser. On the back foot in Delhi over two ministers accused of corruption, the Congress celebrated a morale-boosting victory in the BJP's only state in the south.
The people were fed up with the misrule of BJP government, their nepotism, their corruption. That is why the people voted against BJP in this election.
We have promised the people of Karnataka that we will provide a cleaner administration, and we will definitely, at least I am looking forward to a progressive Karnataka.
Hardly a surprise after a term marred by three chief ministers, corruption allegations and deep dissidence within. The biggest spoiler for the party was its former chief minister B.S. Yediyurappa, whose fledgling party won a few seats but mostly ended up damaging the BJP.
It is a surprise result for BJP. It is a very, very surprising. I never expected that we will go below 65.
Well, it was bad politics in Karnataka for the BJP, and I think that bad politics overshadowed every other issue.
The Congress all set to capture, to conquer the Vidhan Soudha in Bangalore. From coastal Karnataka to the west, to Ballari on the right, to Belagaum in North Karnataka, and to even Bangalore in South Karnataka, the Congress has managed to gain many seats in what was meant to be the BJP stronghold. With no support needed from any political party, with absolute majority to form the government, will the Congress be able to manage a stable government for the next 5 years, as promised to the people in its manifesto?
The BJP lost everywhere, even bastions like Belgaum and Mangalore, considered so safe that Narendra Modi had chosen them as venues for his limited Karnataka campaign.
The BJP in Karnataka certainly disappointed. Top leaders had told us they did not really expect to get a majority and form the government again on their own. But certainly they might have been hoping for a miracle. Perhaps that Modi's campaigning might have worked that little bit of magic.
वो अपने बनाए हुए हीरो हैं, जनता ने दिखा दिया कि वो जीरो हैं.
You cannot attribute the outcome of this election to Narendra Modi's leadership.
The JDS did better than many expected, but Kumaraswamy had hoped for more.
Because of Devegowda in Karnataka, the opposition remaining in the state,
The challenge to
the Congress. I will going to keep MLA's
seat
membership because I have to work hard to strengthen my party even for future in Karnataka.
But within the Congress, a war has already broken out over who will sit in the Chief Minister's chair.
I am one of the strong contenders.
If the High Command thinks that there is a merit in me, they can consider.
I have come here to Karnataka to install the Congress government.
With the exit of one Dr. Parmeshwar, the pool of contenders has now shrunk.
A backward caste leader, Siddaramaiah, certainly a strong contender for the Chief Minister's post. It was with good reason that the Congress did not really name a Chief Ministerial candidate before the elections. And now who will occupy the Chief Minister's chair will very much depend on which candidate, which Chief Ministerial candidate can deliver more number of seats for the Congress in the Lok Sabha in 2014.
With Maya Sharma, Radhika Iyer and Uma Sudhir, Ankita Mukherjee for NDTV.
And of course, just barely a few hours after those results came in, there were massive disruptions in Parliament as the BJP insisted that the government give in to its demands for the resignation of some of its senior ministers. The House had to be finally adjourned without any indication of when it will be reconvened. So a day of political tensions and the political needle swinging from one extreme to the other for the Congress. Joining me is Manish Tiwari, Information and Broadcasting Minister. Thanks very much indeed, Manish, for joining us. It was a day where the political temperature swung quite dramatically, didn't it, for the Congress? You were celebrating as the Karnataka results were coming in, but by the evening, with the adjournments in Parliament and then also some of the Supreme Court's observations, it seemed like the pendulum had shifted.
Well, Srinivasan, it's the first week of May. Temperatures are rising outside. And as you were running your graphics, I was looking at your ticker. And what is interesting is that the Sensex has also touched 20,000. So therefore, I think All in all, it's been a good day for the Congress party and a good day for the Indian economy.
Are you saying the Sensex jumped because you won Karnataka? Is that being perhaps a little bit wishful?
Well, I am not extrapolating anything. I was only reading from your ticker, and it occurred to me that even the economy seems to be doing well. And insofar as Karnataka is concerned, we thank the people of Karnataka. They have given a decisive mandate.
Yes.
It's the first election that we fought under the leadership of Shri Rahul Gandhi, who became Vice President in January. And I think his superintendence of the elections, the management of the elections, ultimately did produce the result that we were expecting. And we commit to deliver a government which is different from the one the people of Karnataka saw in the past 5 years.
Sorry, let me just jump in there. That's again somewhat exaggerating Rahul Gandhi's role, isn't it? And I'm putting it mildly.
Audio.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Manish? Okay, Manish, we'll just try and get him in just a second. But Dorab, I mean, of course, not surprising that Rahul Gandhi is the first person who's been given credit for the victory, but he barely did about 6 to 8 rallies.
That's right.
And he had virtually nothing to do with the campaign or with any of it.
And I don't think it's fair to assume victory or defeat to a rally. A guy comes in a state. I mean, we look at it that way in television studios, but outside to the people in the outer darkness, that's not the way things work.
No, that's true. And I think the counter argument will also be used by the BJP
Absolutely.
about Narendra Modi.
Absolutely.
Because in all the areas where he campaigned, the BJP lost.
Yeah, but
they turn around and say rallies don't win or lose elections.
But unless you are desperate, I think, you don't expect, unless it's a miraculous speaker, Modi is from outside, he's not that well known.
Yes.
I don't know whether one can attribute either the victory or the defeat to either of the campaigners. Probably charged up the party workers.
Yes.
They went out more, got more people to vote. But I think, it's difficult to tell what I mean, if I were a leader, I wouldn't go to a losing proposition. Simple as that.
No, and also if one looked at this entire business of the candidate selection and everything that the Congress strategy, it seemed as far away from Rahul Gandhi's rhetoric, where you say we want to give tickets to young people, we want to give fresh blood, we want to keep dynasty at bay, we want to keep money power at bay.
I think
none of that was the case.
Normally the Congress begins that way and ends up in the old way. In its old way, which means, friends, relatives, uncles,
so there's a lot of theory, but there's no actual practice.
Because I think, on the ground, there are so many rebels, under this current system, 10 guys stand against you if you don't give this guy a ticket. I mean, look at what's happening in Mandya with Ambarish, all over the place, people fighting all over the place. But that's the way politics is. That's the way India. Why was we talking about corruption earlier with Manish? Because the afternoon was also corruption. Yeah. Corruption, there is a feeling that corruption may have an impact in the urban areas.
Right.
So, but if you look at, say, Bangalore, JDS has done very well, but the Congress hasn't been hit. If we have a graphic of that kind, probably we can see the graphic.
We'll just get that graphic up in a second, but let's now also go across to somebody who had to taste a somewhat bitter defeat, much more than he possibly expected, and that is, of course, Chief Minister, or right now we can say outgoing Chief Minister, because he just submitted his resignation, Jagdish Shettar of the BJP, who I spoke to. And sir, is it now fairly clear, because we've just seen the figures, that it's not just that you lost so badly because of the Yediyurappa split, but you also lost because people just did not have faith in your government? It was a mal-governed state for 5 years, and that's why you were swept out of power.
No, it is not because of poor performance. We did lot of things, development works last 5 years, and even my 9 months government also, very clean government, very honest government, and I also did lot of things for the welfare of the Karnataka people. It is not a question of poor performance for our defeat, cause of the defeat.
So then you're saying that it's because of the Yediyurappa factor that his exit led to the defeat? Is that the sole reason?
It is affected somewhat. It is not a major factor, because what image we have lost earlier when government formed, earlier 2-3 years what image we lost, that continued. From that image we have not come out, though we did lot of things, development works and other things are there, but even given the good governance also, it is not affected our.
But isn't it a fact, Mr. Shettar, that when you try to take the moral high ground on corruption by saying that you removed Yediyurappa, the fact is that so many others who were very close to him, ministers, MLAs, almost all of them facing some charge or the other, whether it was the Lokayukta or some other charge, all of them were given tickets. In fact, even one of the Reddy brothers got a ticket. Of course, it's another matter that he lost. But the fact is that your government was perceived as corrupt and you went into the election with a lot of these tainted ministers and MLAs.
That image earlier, when the government formed, 2-3 years, what image built up, that a corrupt government and allegations against ministers, chief ministers, that has not, it was in the mind of the people. That has not abolished.
And by the way, just last question to you. Did you feel emotional at all today? While resigning, you were just there for, I think, only about 8 or 9 months.
No, because very limited time period I got it as a chief minister. If you got 2-3 years as a chief minister, then it will be entirely different factor. But I am very much satisfied. In the even for a small period also, I did a lot of works, and regarding important decision, loan waiver of the farmers, 25,000 loan waiver to the farmers. It is a cost on burden on budget 3,600 crores, and 23,000 daily wages that has been regularized by in my tenure. So many important things I have taken, and in Saranagouda region, Sakala, very popular projection, that is Yojana, that is also implemented Sakala program. So many programs we have taken, but only public once decided, mindset is created regarding image and other things. We have not overtaken this one. Though our development works, everything is.
But Mr. Shettar, you say that the fact is that the people of Karnataka didn't accept that at all. In fact, you almost slipped to 3rd place and you almost fell behind the JDS. You're just about neck and neck, you're tied at 40 each. Is there even a chance that you will be the leading opposition party? Are you going to be opposition leader? That we're not even sure if that's going to happen.
When there is a tie, there is a procedure that pooling of the votes, that will be counts. Who will be the main opposition?
All right, Jagdish Shettar, they're trying to put a brave face on what has been a comprehensive defeat.